Hi everyone, welcome to UTAB Live Show Mobility Mondays. I'm Sean Fitzgerald. I am one of the personal trainers here at the Aquatic Center. So right now we're going to kind of take you through a couple things that we can do from the body standpoint, help us be able to be more mobile and more active through our daily lives. So first, again, thank you for joining or watching later on, and don't forget to subscribe and like and let your friends and family know about what we can do here at the Aquatic Center. So first off, if you have equipment, that's no big deal, but everything can basically be done without bands, without anything. But if you happen to have a towel, a resistance band, super band, anything like that, that's everything that we can kind of alter and use within our program. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the ankle. If you look at anyone that kind of walks or kind of runs, you just kind of start staring at people's kind of their figure. You'll notice that the ankle is kind of the gateway into basically the whole lower body. If someone has, where their knees kind of bend in, where there's some hip pain, the majority of the time it's actually going to be coming from the ankle. So right now we're going to try to work on how do we get the ankles more mobile. How do we get them stronger, especially if you're a former athlete, you sprain your ankles quite a bit, you twisted your ankles, maybe you broke your ankle. That's kind of things that we'll take a look at and see if there's an issue that occurs farther up the body. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm basically just going to start with my band, and it's just a regular super band. If you got a resistance band or if a towel, perfectly fine. If you don't have anything, you can literally do this with no equipment. You can just do it sitting on your couch, sitting on the floor, standing. It's literally probably one of the most versatile exercises that you can do basically anywhere. So all I'm going to do is I got my chair right here. I'm just going to come down here. I'm actually going to move the camera down just a touch. There we go. And all I'm doing is I got my leg out straight. I got my heel kind of pressed on the floor, and all I'm doing is basically just pointing my foot, away from my toes, going away from me, my toes coming towards me, and I'm just going back and forth. So you might get a snap, a pop. That's completely normal. That will happen, especially if you haven't really moved your foot in this direction at all. The only thing that I would suggest is if you have pain, I would immediately stop. But all we're going to do is you just kind of go back and forth. Right now it's plantar and dorsiflexion, so you're going to feel it in your calf if your calves are super tight, but that's what those muscles do. But you're going back and forth, trying to loosen up the ankle joint. Anywhere around 8 to 12 reps each, I would do on each foot. That way it will help kind of get you used to moving your ankle into that type of motion. And then if you have band, resistance bands, you have anything that basically you can wrap around your foot. Towels work, if you're at the beach, you got a beach towel. If you're at a hotel, in a hotel room, you can just snag one of their big towels, anything like that. And all we're doing is I got the band right around my foot, and I'm just going back and forth. So now this is going to add a little bit of resistance, so it's going to be a little bit harder. And same thing, we're going right around. You're going right around 8 to 12 reps. So this is just going to be helping strengthen up the ankle a little bit, get you moving into certain directions. And then go ahead and we're just going to switch to the other foot now. We're going back and forth, up and down. So if you do have sprained ankles, or you're more susceptible to have an ankle sprain, like all these exercises will help kind of build up the strength around the ankle. So then that way, the goal is to not continue to keep getting them while you play. All right. So from there, I'm going to go back to my original foot. So now this one's going to feel a little funky. So right now, what we're doing is we had our foot go up and down, right? Our ankle can move generally in different planes, right? So what we want to do is we're basically I have my right foot on the band, and all I'm doing is I'm trying to move my ankle out towards the right, away from my body, just like that. So it's a different type of motion, and I'm just moving it from right to left. So the tension is going as I send my foot to the right. And same thing, we're just gonna do, 8 to 12, just, it doesn't have to be this daunting task to where you gotta do a million of them a day. It's not what it's about. And we'll go ahead and let's switch to the other one. Same thing, I got the band. You can do this without bands. You can just do, it's just all body weight. So that is completely okay. And all I'm doing is I'm just kind of on my left foot. Now I'm just rotating left to right. I'm just trying to strengthen it up, everything around and in that foot. So same thing, 8 to 12. So we went forward and backwards, right? Now we went out, so now we want to go back in. So you're going to basically loop it around, back to my right foot. And now I'm holding the band to the right, and now I'm going inside. And I'm just going to taking that right foot and my big toe, and I'm shooting it that way on, shooting it to the opposite side. So you went up and down and side to side, hitting it both ways. Same thing, 8 to 12. The more you do them, the stronger and more mobile your ankle is going to get, the more it's going to feel better every time you do it, So that's what we want to do. And that is the goal. We want to go to where we get stronger and better from day to day. We're not looking to create pain. We're not looking to make sure you can't walk the next day. So, you're going to understand where you feel comfortable and where you would like to do it. If every other day feels good, if once a week is a good starting point, that's all you. You figure out what works for you and what you can do. So there's some basic little ones right there to start with. Just a simple band, towel, or if you don't have anything, you can just, move it yourself, right? So you can do that sitting down, you can do that standing up, you can laying down. It's basically whatever works for where you are at that, that instance. So this is what we're going to do now. So now I'm kind of back up in my standing position, and all I'm doing is I'm going to balance on my one foot. So some people, this will be a little more challenging, especially if how often do you really balance on your one foot? So, most of the times you're only on your one foot as if I'm walking up, a set of stairs. That's the only time I'm, kind of balancing on the one foot. Or skiers, this will be, you're probably going to be like, oh, I don't really feel much in this because you're used to being either on one ski or, something happens. But basically what I'm doing right now is I'm standing on one foot and I'm forcing the ankle to stabilize me, right? So I'm working on building up that strength and that endurance to keep me standing, right? So, you don't need to really do more than 30 seconds. If it is real easy, especially if you do yoga a lot, if you're a hardcore skier and, this is just real easy, or you're in the gym a lot and you do a lot of single leg work, where you can change it, close your eyes. Take away your vision and see how much harder it really is. So I did my right foot. I'm just going to go back to my left and see how I feel, see where I'm at, and we'll go from there. So right now, one foot will always probably be stronger than the other. That's just how the body works. One side will always be stronger than the other. It's that muscle imbalance. If you're right-handed, right side's going to take over. If you're left-handed, left side usually wants to take over. And that's how the body works. So the body's extremely efficient finding that. All right. So loosen up your ankles with our band. Did a couple balance things. Kind of work on feeling where it might hurt or anything like that. Now I'm on my right foot. I'm just going to do a couple just heel raises. You're going to feel this kind of run up your calf a little bit. If you do any calf exercises or machines, kind of the same thing. You'll feel it through your calf. But really what I'm doing is I'm moving my ankle. And that's the name of the game right now. You're just going to move your ankle. I'll go back to my left one. Just going to go up and down. Just trying to test it out, see what hurts. If this bothers you quite a bit, don't do it. It's that simple. You know what your body can and cannot do, but there's a difference between pain and mild discomfort to get improvement. So that's the one line that you're going to have to figure out for yourself what you're willing to go with. So we got that. So those are some simple techniques. Basically, those couple things are an easy ankle warm up to get you kind of through, kind of progress what you need to do, what you want to do. And then those are, a little slower introductory kind of jumps into a program to where you want to increase a little bit of ankle mobility. And then from there, once you feel comfortable, you're comfortable balancing, you're comfortable, your ankle's strong enough, that's where you can add your unbalanced thing. So you have your Bosus, you got your balance boards, you have, basically kind of create that unbalanced kind of technique to make it even harder. But you would only want to do that once you feel comfortable to where it's like, yeah, balancing is too easy. My ankle's pretty strong. I think I'm ready to move on. So that's where you would only want to advance on to something a little more challenging. So I'm going to grab, so I'll slide this chair out of the way. All right, so here's another good one. So we're going to come down to half kneeling. And, I got my right leg up, left leg down, and I'm keeping it kind of pretty narrow stance. And all I'm doing is I got my hips pretty square, so my pelvis is tucked, right? I'm engaging my butt, my glutes, right? To help protect my lower back. And I keep my foot somewhat close, because if you go all the way out here, you're gonna feel it somewhere else. So we want to keep it nice and close. If you're at a gym, you want to use a kettlebell, you want to use a dumbbell, kind of plop it on your knee. Some people do that. Entirely up to you. You don't have to. It's really what's comfortable for you and your body. And all you do is just kind of rock forward. You're just rocking forward. If your knee kind of goes, a little out, 45, that's all right. Just don't make it too aggressive. But, slight movement. And the thing you really want to look for is we're keeping this heel on the ground. We don't want this heel to come up because that defeats the purpose of where we're going. So we want to we're going to rock back and forth. So this is kind of, we're moving the ankle. If your hip flexors are really tight, so your muscle, your hip flexors up here in your hip, you might feel it. It's okay. It's no big deal. You can hit those later. We'll hit those in another week. Don't you worry. But we're just gonna rock back and forth. So if you notice, you can put a weight on here. It will be a lot more challenging. But again, do not need a weight. It's perfectly acceptable to rock back and forth. Go ahead. Same thing. Right around 12. 12 reps doesn't need to be crazy. You don't need to spend an hour in the gym just working on your ankle. It literally can be a couple exercises a day, 5 to 10 minutes. You're good to go. A little bit lasts a long time. And those improvements really make a difference. And you'll notice a change real fast. Once these ankles strengthen up, your ankle won't collapse in, your knees won't come together. You might have pain in your hip. Guess what? It might be your ankle. Your hip is right here, right? If my knee kind of goes inside, look at that angle right there. So imagine walking any distance, sitting, right? I'm at an awkward angle. My hip would hurt too after a while, right? So take a look at your ankles if other body parts are starting to hurt, and work on that. So one little key advice or a little thing to point out that you might not know is if you take a look at the body, right? We'll start with your ankles. Your ankles are mobile, right? They can move all over the place, right? Your knees, right? They're supposed to be stable, right? They only move in one position, right? Your hips, right? They're supposed to be able to move, right? Lumbar is supposed to be stable. So if you notice, every little section that you come up, it's mobile, stable, mobile, stable, mobile, stable. So it's a real reoccurring pattern that the body has. So, all right. So what we'll do a couple stretches. Coming back up to my feet, right? So imagine, this is going to be a nice little balancing exercise to kind of throw it in for you. Or basically, I'm going standing on my left foot. I got my right foot in the air, right? I'm going to imagine that I got a pen in my big toe, right? I'm imagining it. And all I'm doing is I am going to go through and I'm going to draw the alphabet. Capitalized letters too. Don't cheat. Lowercase letters don't count. So what this is going to do is basically you're going to hit every motion in your ankle, right? So you can do this with your hips. The alphabet is a painful exercise because it's built for endurance. So not only am I moving my ankle, right? I'm going through my alphabet. So this one you probably don't feel, right? You're not feeling my right ankle at all, right? So which one's starting to hurt you? It's probably going to be your left, right? And why is that? Well, I'm balancing on, 26 letters in the alphabet, right? If you're fast enough, right, you're pretty good. You're probably doing a second a letter. So you're almost going to be holding it for about 30 seconds, kind of like what we talked about when in the beginning where, balance test is a good little introductory. Well, here we go. Now, got to switch feet, right? So it's probably going to feel good that you're able to switch. So, all right, here we go. Pen in that big toe. And just move that ankle joint all in the planes just to get it working. So, sorry, your teacher's not going to grade you about how bad your penmanship is either, too. This is all for you. And guess what? If it starts hurting, all right, take a break. There's nothing wrong with taking a break. You know your body. If this ankle's starting to hurt, be like, all right, let me take a 5 seconds, 5-second break. I'm good, right? Be like, get the burn out, a couple deep breaths. All right, here we go. Going back into it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Rest days are okay. And rest periods are very important into a program. U, V, W. Woo. All right. Woo. That felt pretty good, huh? All right. So, get this out of the way. All right, cool. Another thing that we can do. So, we went from kind of like a static kind of stretch. We did a little bit, static where we're kind of holding it. And then we moved into a little bit more kind of like moving it to kind of get it going. So from the beginning, we did our ups and downs. We went side to side, right? We did some balance. We did some alphabets, right? So ankle joint should be feeling pretty good. Loosen it up. You get some blood flow down there. You should feel pretty good. So what you can do is moving on to something that would be a little more tougher, right? We'll start out with 2 feet. So basically anything that you want to start, you can start with 2 feet, make it harder, go to 1 feet. Make it even more challenging, change the balance, right? So those are kind of where your progressions go. So you start with 2 feet, change the balance, make it harder. Start with 1 foot, change the balance, make it harder. So there, you can see there's a lot of progressions and regressions that we can do. But right now, we'll start with 2 feet. And all you're gonna do is, I got my knees back, kind of like athletic position, and I'm just gonna, little hops, right? Because all I'm doing is with a little hop, I'm engaging my ankles, right? I have to use my ankles to give me that little bit of, movement. So from the beginning, right, my ankles are here, I'm jumping, they have to extend, right? So all it is little hops. We're not here trying to hit a 40-inch vertical or anything, right? We're just here to try to, move our ankles, get them moving a little bit, and make them feel healthy and everything. So that was 2 foot. Why don't you go 1 foot, right? Make it a little harder. Like, how does that feel? So get your heart rate flowing. You get that up and going. You're starting to feel a little good. Ankle feeling's a little good. That's all we need. That's what we're here for, right? So start with kind of slow movements, kind of move your foot in and out, side to side. Then go ahead, stretch with a half kneel. Use a kettlebell if you want on your knee and kind of, nice and easy. If you go too far out, remember you're going into probably your hamstrings or your hip flexor, so you'll feel it. So keep that knee nice and close. Go into your alphabets. Work on moving that ankle in all sorts of planes, so then that way you're really moving it all around, because the ankle just doesn't go up and down, right? Ankle moves everywhere. It's a ball and joint, right? So you gotta protect it, make sure everything around it is nice and strong, and you'll be good to go. And then once you feel a little more comfortable, do your balances, do your jumps, progress, regress. If it's too easy, it's too hard, we can adjust on the fly. Your body, limit what hurts, what doesn't hurt, what you can push, what you can't push, and you'll be fine. So I would like to thank all of you guys for joining us on Mobility Mondays. It's great to have YouTube live now, and great to kind of start off the series pretty good. What we're going to do, don't forget, like, subscribe. We got banners, we got a bunch of classes coming up, a lot that's happening here at the Aquatic Center, so exciting times ahead. And don't forget to share with family, friends, and even come down and check us out if you're ever in the area. And I hope you guys kind of come away with a couple tips that might help you out to start. And next week we're going to work our way up, and got a few tricks up our sleeves, and I'm excited to show you guys. All right. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, like, subscribe. Have a good week, and we'll see you guys later.